Finally this week, are spite and vindictiveness useful social traits? No, according to a new game theory experiment published in this week's Nature, which shows that nice guys really do finish first. It's a twist on the classic prisoner's dilemma, adapted to give players the option of paying to punish each other. Earlier in the week, we got the chance to try it out for ourselves, perhaps unwisely, with the help of researcher David Rand from Harvard University.
In this study, we looked at the role of costly punishment, sort of spiteful punishment, in cooperation games to see if people that use punishment do better and if punishment makes the group do better.
And how is spiteful punishment simulated in your experiment?
So in the standard prisoner's dilemma, which is the paradigm for studying these cooperation scenarios, people have two options. They can either cooperate, which means paying a cost to give a benefit to the other person, or they can defect, which means stealing from the other person. And so costly punishment or spiteful punishment is a third option, which is bad for both people. It's like, I pay points to make you lose points.
What might be an example of that in the real world, of spiteful behaviour like that harms both people?
So you could imagine an obvious example is if someone does something you don't like, you could try to beat them up, as opposed to, stealing from them or whatever.
Or you could spread rumours about them on the internet, I guess, would be a modern equivalent.
Right.
I see. So I guess the best way to understand this would be to play it ourselves, and you've very kindly agreed to teach us here in the podcast how to play the game. So joining me now is the boss, the podcast's Chief Commissioning Editor, Sarah Abdullah, who I'm going to play against. Can you let us know, Dr. Rand, the rules of the game that we'll be playing to?
All right, so welcome, Sarah and Mike. We're going to play this game. It's called The Prisoner's Dilemma, and the rules of the game are as follows. Each round, you each make a decision that will earn you some number of points, and these number of points translate directly into dollars. So you guys are playing for money here. And so you have 3 moves each turn. You can either cooperate, which means you pay $1 and the other person gets $3. You can defect, which means you gain $1 and the other person loses $1. So it's like stealing $1 from the other person. Or you can choose to punish the other person, which means you pay $1 and the other person loses $4. So those are the 3 moves. You guys have cards in front of you that say C, D, or P for each of the 3 possible moves. And so each round, you'll choose the move you want to do and put it face down on the table. And then we'll turn over both moves and we'll see what points each of you earned.
Okay. I'm a bit nervous, but let's give it a go. Okay.
Yeah, we'll see what you guys will find out about each other.
Right, well, here we go. I'm ready to play the first card.
All right,
so
Sarah?
We're putting them down now. Okay.
All right, let's see what we got.
So we've got 2 cooperates.
Oh, that's so nice.
Aren't we lovely? So that means...
So each one of you has now paid 1 and given 3 to the other person, so you each have a net gain of $2 each.
Lovely. Next round. Okay, turn them over. Now, I have elected to cooperate, but Sarah has defected.
Oh, all right, the truth comes out.
I think that makes me the big loser so far.
This time, Sarah has gotten the 3 that you gave her, plus she's stolen 1 from you. So she's earned $4, where you've lost $2.
So I'm back down to 0.
All right.
And Sarah, you're on 6 now.
I'm on $6.
All right. So Sarah, you're very self-interested. You're a very rational player of this game.
Right. Ding ding.
Next round, and we'll turn them over. So I have decided to defect this time, and Sarah has decided to punish me.
Oh man! Well, I
apparently
take it
do
back
nothing.
I think I'm actually playing this as though it was cards.
I was going to say, now I have to take back that thing about you being a very rational player. So now, Mike, this turn you gained 1 from stealing from Sarah, but you lost the 4 that she punished you for, so you got a net of minus $3.
Oh dear.
And I gained 3?
No, you lost 2.
Okay.
Because you spent 1 to punish, and then Mike took 1 from you.
So we both lost.
Right.
There's a lesson here.
You can feel the bitterness growing in the room.
Okay,
next round.
4.
And here we go.
Oh.
So I have defected now, and Sarah has cooperated.
So that means now it's like the situation 2 round to go, but reversed. So now
Okay.
Mike has gotten $4, and Sarah has lost $2.
Mm-hmm.
So that puts me back in the black.
Hurts,
I'm on the way
Mike.
back. I think I've got one now.
I
What are-
will have
what are
my
you on?
revenge. I'm on -2.
Okay, so the next round, here we go. And turn them over.
And we've got a P and a D for you.
So I have defected.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, Sarah has punished me.
All right. So that means, again, you get -3, Mike, and Sarah gets -2, and that is the end of the game.
Okay.
A
So,
whopping 5 rounds. So,
And we're both...
that got fairly
Worse off.
bad-tempered fairly quickly, didn't it?
yeah, it looks like... So, Mike, your final payoff was -$2.
Oh.
Well, that's good for me, I guess.
Yeah.
And let's see, Sarah got 0.
Well, that's better than Mike. That's the main thing.
Well, see, that's a very interesting question, is whether you are playing for your relative payoff or your absolute payoff.
So it's a case of whether you're playing to beat the other person or just to do as well as possible in absolute terms.
Right, because if you're a student coming into the lab to play the game, what the other person gets doesn't matter. It's just the dollars that you take home are only affected by your own payoff.
So what were the results when you did this? Presumably you did this for longer in the lab with your students, and what were the results you found? What kind of people came out on top?
When we did this in the lab, we found that people that cooperated in general did better than people that defected. But so then the big question that determined how you did is what happened when the other person defected. So now in our game, Mike cooperated as long as Sarah kept cooperating, and then once Sarah had started to defect, Mike just defected the whole time. It's a reciprocity sort of thing, where it's like, if you cooperate, I'll cooperate, and that's good. But if you defect, then I'm just going to defect. And so that's what the winners in our experiment did. So Mike, congratulations. You've picked the right strategy.
A hollow victory, given how badly I did in the game. And so it appears from the results of your study that there's no place in a successful strategy for the punishment option. You can just simply refuse to cooperate with uncooperative people.
Right. So if you refuse to cooperate, you're not paying a cost to punish that person. You're just saying, well, all right, if you're not going to cooperate, I won't either. And so the people that were sort of spiteful and said, well, I'm going to pay and make the other person lose, those are the people that came out worst in our experiment.
How does this translate to the real world? I mean, is it the case that life's real winners in business or whatever are not the kind of people who get involved in spiteful punishment stuff?
Yeah, I think that's exactly the sort of implication that we have for these sort of interpersonal interactions. The best strategy is to work with people that contribute and that work well with, and if you work with people that are not contributing, to just stop working with them and find others.
And what about other forms of costly punishment? Because when people are thinking about social punishment and how societies evolve, they hold up the idea of prisons. So does that mean that taxpayers shouldn't pay money to send people to prison and should just ignore criminals instead?
Not exactly. These results are studying interpersonal cooperation. And so what we think is that people clearly have an impulse to punish others, and I think that this comes from situations other than cooperative situations, like dominance situations, for example. And so we think prison is like the state dominating the individual and getting the individual to do what the state wants them to.
I see, but on a personal level, it's best just to walk away if someone's annoying you.
Right, exactly.
That was David Rand, game theorist and game show host extraordinaire. That's all for this week's show.
Our Sound of Science this week is a tribute to that most famous and delicious of numbers, pi. Earlier this week it was Pi Day, the 14th of March of course, 3/14, a celebration which also happened to coincide with Talk Like a Physicist Day and Einstein's birthday. Here's Kenneth Freedom Ferrier and Anthony Tiggy Chan with American Pie. I'm Kerry Smith.
And I'm Mike Hopkin. Thanks for listening.
A long, long time ago, long before the Super Bowl and things like lemonade, the Hellenic Republic was full of smarts, and a question resting on the Grecian hearts was, what is the circumference of a circle? But they were set on rational numbers, and it ranks among their biggest blunders. They worked on it for years, and confirmed one of their biggest fears. I can't be certain if they cried when irrationality was realized, but something deep within them died the day they discovered pi. 643-338-382. 643-338-327. Not rounded.
The Nature Podcast is sponsored by Bio-Rad, at the center of scientific discovery for over 50 years. On the web at discover.biorad.com.